Hello and welcome to this episode of Animasaurus. My name is Kim and today we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7. So yes, today we're going to be having a look at The Clone Wars Season 7. It's been announced that it's going to be released again, and I know it's kind of a bit out of the blue to say that they're going to be doing a Season 7 considering everything that's gone up to it. So we're going to go back through history, have a bit of a look at where it's come from and what's led up to this point, and maybe some of the things which might happen through it. So join me with checking it out. Alright, Season 7. First thing is, it's not to be confused with the Genndy Tartakovsky 2D animation of Clone Wars. The distinct difference is Clone Wars and The Clone Wars. Now, if you haven't seen the 2D version that was done, it is absolutely off the charts for how well this was handled. The action is brilliant through it. The storytelling through it is great. They don't overdo any of the dialogue, and yet I just love the work that Genndy does. So if you have not seen Clone Wars, definitely go check it out before you get on to the rest of the seasons and check out The Clone Wars. Now, the Clone Wars themselves, where do they actually fit into the mythos of the Star Wars universe? Because there's a couple of really interesting things to think about with this Star Wars universe. The original Star Wars was originally released in 1977. So we're looking at like a 42-year history of this story, or this saga actually fitting in. And of course, the saga itself is now ran across, 4 generations? So where does the Clone Wars fit into the mythos? We're looking at somewhere between after 2002, when we had Attack of the Clones on Episode 2, and the 2005 Revenge of the Sith. In between those two key pivotal parts of the story, we actually have the Clone Wars. So originally they were slated to be coming out and released in 2008, and that's when the 2D one started. So sitting between Episode 2 and Episode 3, we have... Whoa, hold up. If you're enjoying this, please just smash that like button. So when this was originally pitched as an idea and started getting seen for visuals, it was described as an Asian anime with a unique 3D animation styling, which is very much what it is. They've gone for a very paintedly look, which throws back to the original Genndy sort of style, and the character designer style lends heavily off of what was originally done with Clone Wars. Which does give it its unique style, and its unique appeal is they've tried to make it for a budget, because it's not the big budget feature film, but it is animated TV series, but they've given it a certain style which does make it unique when you look at it. Way back in 2005, when it was originally announced, it was going to be, all production was going to be handled by the Singapore studio of Lucas Animation. That was their point of difference of where they were making it from. And I got to go across to the Singapore SIGGRAPH that year when they were doing the Yellow Pages and the guest talks of it. And I was absolutely gobsmacked when I saw Episode 1. I was kind of drooling over it, going, I'd love to actually get to work here and work on this series. Never happened, but still, dreams are free. But the original season is reported to have over 300 artists from that facility working on the first season. Now, the Clone Wars it also has a very long history from itself as well, because, if you're looking at 2008 for its first release, we're looking at a 12-year history for the series actually running. So there's been a lot of developments in that time as well as a lot of character development too, which goes along with I guess it's not the mainstream part of where the story's gone, which is really cool. It was one of the things I loved, the characters, which are now... I love a couple of the characters which didn't get enough screen time on the feature to now actually have their own world to play in and be developed into something which is, a whole rich environment in itself. But the first 5 seasons, from a production standpoint, seasons 1 to 5 ran from 2008 to 2013, and they're actually distributed through Cartoon Network. At the end of 2013, it was announced that the Clone Wars would be winding up. Which was a really interesting development for them when they say it's winding down or winding up. In that, in 2014, only a year later, it was then said that season 6 would then be played 13 episodes, 13 20-minute episodes would be played 2014 on Netflix. So all of a sudden they've gone from Cartoon Network to Netflix 1 year later. At the end of those 13 episodes, though, it was left at a loose end. There was no more announcements about what was going to happen with it, and it does end with Ahsoka walking off, going, she's off to explore her own world. So you've had a lot of character development with Ahsoka, which I really do like what they've done. They've taken her, and while the first 5 seasons were a fairly random collection of stories of how the Clone Wars went and some of the events that happened, and it was sort of picked together and pieced together fairly broadly. It wasn't until you started getting later in the seasons that they go, well, you know what, we're actually going to start putting the overarching stories for our characters into place, which makes season 6 really, really cool. And for me, this is what's really exciting about season 7 as well. So season 7 was announced late in 2019 to say that it was going to be streaming on Disney's own Plus network, and it was going to be released in 2020. So this is really, really exciting to see that this final series now with 6 years between season 6 and season 7, it's going to be interesting to see how well received it gets, especially on the Disney Plus network. Yeah. And what I really get excited by the promotion material, which you've seen with the trailer and everything, is it's very much focused on Ahsoka and Darth Maul. I geeked out a little bit about Darth Maul because I thought he never got developed enough through the movies. He was really only a bit character in episode 2. He vanished off the screen really quickly. So I'm so happy that he's got development time and we get to know his story a bit more. And it's going to be really great to see Ahsoka, who has been developed over basically the whole series, to be working with Maul and see how their dynamic works. And that just geeks me out quite a lot. So what has helped the Star Wars series have such longevity? Because we're looking at over 12 years of content now. There's quite a few things which have impacted it. Number one is the design. They have translated the 2D, which was originally done by Genndy, into 3D quite well. They've taken the style of the characters and they've reproduced it in 3D. Now, the first time, if you look at the season 1 now, it does look really dated. But season 7, since it's had 6 more years between it, the software and the look and feel has been developed to a point where they feel really cool. And the battle sequences, there are so many characters and such layout in the environment that it does feel a very rich world which they've designed. And the characters themselves have got a real style to them as well, which helps show the progress of the actual seasons. If you watch them back to back, you'll see a development in the technology and how they've been able to apply the techniques that they've learned early on to the new episodes, which is making them feel like a bigger world. So the one thing that I got really excited by when I first seen Darth Maul and he was first introduced was the double-ended lightsaber. Now, it was really weird because nowhere else in the Star Wars universe had that ever been seen before. So now that we're getting to see Ahsoka come through and she's got 2 lightsabers, we've now got quite a unique dynamic for what they're going to be able to do for their fighting sequences with a double-ended lightsaber as well as 2 single lightsabers, which she obviously looks like she's going to be able to handle really, really well. So that, just from a pure perspective of fight sequences, is going to be really cool to see. Thank you so much for getting through the rant. Here we go. What's my score for this? What am I looking forward to for this? I'm going to put this on the radar at about 3 Ahsokas. I think it's going to be well worth it. I don't think it's going to be absolutely brilliant because it's not going to be feature length. Hasn't got the big budget of feature, but it's going to be a damn good series. I think it's going to be great. So comment down below. Let me know who's going to be watching this and who's going to be actually trying to stream it straight off the bat. Until the next time this old dinosaur is walking the animation planet again, bye-bye. You're looking at, oh shit, I put myself into that one, didn't I? 140. It's got got to be more than 140. 2, 4, 66. Can't just calculate it quick. 220. 240. Yeah.